Welcome to the video for A.2A. For this part of the video, we are going to talk about finding the domain. We are going to discuss representing values for real-world situations. And as you can see, this graph has distinct points, which makes it a discrete graph. We're also going to discuss using inequalities. I want you to make sure that you take a minute to look at the scale for the x values. That's one of the first things we do need to recognize on a graph. Our scale here for the x's are going up by 2s. X represents the number of bouquets. And if you look at the y values, they are going up by 18 each time. It would be difficult to determine the point of this dot, but we would have to figure that out. And then the 2 goes to 18, the 4 goes to 36, and then there are these dots here in between representing the linear function. This is a picture of what our problem-solving board looks like. Let's start on the top left. We're going to read the question and then rephrase in our own words. But first, for this video's sakes, we're just going to talk about what is the question asking me to do. A florist is making bouquets of flowers for a wedding. Each bouquet has 9 flowers. The graph shows the linear relationship between y, the number of flowers used, and x, the number of bouquets. The florist will use no more than 8 bouquets for the wedding. Which set represents the domain of the function for this situation? So for this problem, what is the question asking me to do? The question is asking me to find the domain, which are the x values from the given situation shown in the graph. Let's move on to what information I am given. I have distinct points, which means it is a discrete graph. I'm going to need to show my domain in a list of a set of values. I know that the x-coordinate represents the number of bouquets. I know that a bouquet is made of 9 flowers each. Okay, so that's the part that I understand now. 2 times 9 is 18, and then 4 times 9 is 36. So each of these bouquets represents one bouquet made of 9 flowers, which on the left, the y value is the total number of flowers. Y represents the total flowers used, and I cannot use any more than 8 bouquets. So this 8 represents the end for 72. Now, if there was a 10, it would be at 90, but that would not be included in my domain for the problem. Now, let's talk about our plan that we're going to use for showing all of the work. Now, on this, there's not necessarily work to show, so I'm just going to show a list of steps that you might think through. I know that I need to make a list of x values. The x values are represented on the graph. 0, 0, so 0 is an x value, 1 is an x value, 2 is an x value, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, if any of these points were missing, I would not include that as one of my x values. One misconception might be that the 0, the 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 is the domain because that is the scale shown on the x values. So what you really have to do here is really consider the dots that we're looking at, including this dot at 0. I can start at 0, but I cannot go over 8 bouquets. The x values, like we just said, would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I'm going to justify my answer by looking at the answer choices. The first answer choice, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, are the scale for the domain, or the x values. G appears to be the list of values that I already had. I see that H goes beyond 8. Oh, that would be a misconception. These are the numbers that are the scale on the y value. And the last are the Y values of the points. So, since answer choices F, H, and J go beyond 8 bouquets, I know that those are incorrect. So the correct answer would be G, which represents the number of bouquets that I am allowed to have in the problem.